Every farm has a story. When it comes to dairy farming, these stories are often only heard by the animals raised, the land stewarded, and the family that makes it all possible. Join me, Dairy Gal Val, as I interview individuals from across the dairy industry, both within the United States and across the globe, discussing topics like farm management, the food industry, ag business and technology, and most importantly, their farm story. This is the Dairy Hour Podcast. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour. I am your host, Dairy Gal Val, and I am joined by a New Jersey dairy farmer. Yes, they do in fact have farms in New Jersey. The one and only Sarah Linus. How are you?
Hi, Val. I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm very excited.
Thanks for coming on. Sarah is a really awesome advocate online, and she also is an avid listener to the podcast. So I'm really excited to bring her on and dive into some interesting things that she does in her day to day life. And I can't wait to hear about it. So, Sarah, if you want to start by just talking about what does your day look like? What are you involved in currently? And a little bit about your farm.
Sure. So my days really vary depending on whether it's a weekday or a weekend, because I'm actually a full-time attorney. So during the week, I don't spend a ton of time at the farm because I obviously am working at my other full-time job. So typically like a normal work day for me, right? Like I'm either at the office or I work from home and, do all of that fun attorney stuff. And then especially when it's really nice out, I do end my day at the farm, even if it's just to like hang out with the dog or, now we're getting some of our show heifers ready. So like I'll go wash them. It's, a nice way to like relax and end the day. And then of course, like, sometimes Dan needs help. A cow is calving, whatever comes up. Usually I'll like pop over for that, but I'm not too involved during the week. And then on the weekends, I'm full-time farmer. So I go with Dan. I typically handle like calf chores on the weekends and then just help do like our normal farm activities that either like Dan needs help with or just something that like I have in my mind I want to get done. So it really just depends on the day, but it definitely is hard on weekdays to not be there, especially when it's so nice out. When I'm stuck inside. But yeah, I either am like in the office being an attorney or like at the farm being a dairy farmer. Really depends on the day.
Two different hats. I love it. Now, you guys also have some type of a creamery, farm store, something like that. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. It's been going well for us. I'm very excited. I love talking about it, but we did build a creamery in 2020 and officially opened in 2021. It's on our farm, and it's one of those shipping container models. So it's kind of like a pre-built ish creamery, right? We obviously had to do work like on the outside to get it ready, but
Yes. So for those that are listening that don't know what the container thing means, so if you see like the boxes that are on trains, like the metal boxes with the doors that open, like so it's actually a creamery built inside of one of those storage pods. So just to kind of give you an idea while you're listening of what you're actually talking space wise and look wise. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
no, yeah, it's pretty cool. It was a really good way for us to break into like the creamery business. Because I mean, obviously there's a cost associated with it, but it was much more affordable than alternative methods for us. And we really liked it because we wanted to make sure this model worked for us. And obviously it's like a whole other business and a whole other set of jobs that have to get done. So it was really nice that way to kind of get into the creamery space on the shipping container model. So we bottle white and chocolate milk, and we sell a lot of wholesale to like local farm markets. We also have an on-farm store, but that probably only accounts for like 25% of the milk that we're actually bottling. And it's been really, really fun to just see like people appreciate local milk, which obviously we were hoping people would do when we started this, but maybe it's the attorney in me, or maybe I just am paranoid, but I was so nervous about like people coming to the farm and the farm store. And I was like ready to not fight, but I was just very nervous, like how that was going to go. And I thought for sure that, you know, people would be very skeptical, right, of like local milk. And I was totally wrong. And I take full ownership of that. People have been so enthusiastic and supportive. And we've found that like 99.9% of the people that come, they ask questions because they're like genuinely curious, and they just don't know, right? They just have no like on farm experience, and they truly have no idea what it takes to get milk from the cow to the bottle. And so when they're asking questions, it's like genuine curiosity, and they love to talk about it. So it's been really nice from that perspective too, to get to meet people that appreciate what we're doing.
Definitely. And you said chocolate milk is your favorite coming out of the farm store, I believe, in a other conversation that I had with you.
I did.
Definitely.
I drink so much chocolate milk now. Not that I didn't drink it before, but it's so accessible to me now. I'm like, oh, I'm a little thirsty. I think I'm going to help myself to a chocolate milk.
I mean, you can't get more convenient than that. So I mean, that really works out well. I'm definitely team chocolate milk as well. So I'm really happy that that's going well for you. Definitely like that 2021 era it was a very almost risky time to make such a big investment, and it's definitely seems like it's paid off for you guys, which is really cool. And I definitely get where you're coming from as far as the nerves go. I mean, with people coming onto the farm, and also just that investment for the farm to be able to go and, you know, put that kind of money into something that's just kind of like a wish and a prayer, and hope everything works out and everything goes well. So you're just bottling milk currently? Do you have plans to expand into some other products, or what's your future looking like for that?
Such a good question. Dan and I probably spend like 40% of our conversations talking about this. So we're in an interesting position for a number of reasons. So one of the things you mentioned about the shipping container, right? Like it's a confined space. You can only fit so much inside. So that obviously is a hurdle, right? In order to start doing other products, we would need a separator. We probably would need another bulk tank. There's a lot of other equipment that just probably wouldn't fit. However, we have found a lot of people that have started with the shipping container model, and they found ways to expand, right? Like they can add other containers. So, that's a fixable problem, but certainly a hurdle.
So all I can think of when you're like, we can add another container, all I can think of is a maze of metal containers, yes. And you can just have it in like some fun shape. So when airplanes go over, it spells out your farm name or something.
Yes.
Like that's all I can think about when you're saying that. That's great.
Yes. And my understanding, Dan went out. So Dan is my husband. He went out and like found a guy that did this. And he was like, yeah. And he put one on the side, and then he put one up top. And I was like, wait a minute, we're not stacking shipping containers in our creamery. Like what? We're not doing that. But apparently people do it. So who knows? Maybe in 10 years, you'll talk to me and I'll say, oh, we're 4 shipping containers high now in our creamery. Who knows? But
that's great.
Yeah. And then we have 2 other big hurdles. One is just the labor, right? Dan obviously is full-time on the farm, so he has all of those responsibilities, but he also spends a lot of time in the creamery. And we're really lucky to have his mom is basically like our creamery manager, right? She handles all of the orders and logistics, and then is in the creamery with Dan. So if we were going to add like another day of production, or we wanted to make something else, like someone's got to learn. And, just how that fits in with Dan and his chores. So whether that's like me coming full-time at the creamery or hiring someone. So that's like the next step, is just figuring out like how to account for the workload. And then the other interesting part of the creamery, which just speaks generally to like New Jersey agriculture and dairy, is the direct-to-consumer business thrives here. So there is a lot of, there are a lot of people that are making cheese, right? There are a lot of people that are doing those types of things. So sometimes we talk about, right, should we just be really, really good at bottling fluid milk? Because not a lot of people are doing that. Right. And if we start making cheese, well, a lot of people are doing that. And, I'd want to make good cheese, right? No one wants to eat bad cheese. So then I'd want to like go to classes. So there's so many things to think about, but we've been really lucky to, we are working with a local ice cream shop. We bring him our milk and he makes ice cream for us. So that's a good way to expand because we don't have to get the equipment or like learn how to do it. So that model seems to be working.
Ice cream is definitely one of those things. Like if that was our farm, I'd be totally on board with like having our own ice cream. Cause like, oh, a little hungry. Maybe I'll just go out and get some ice cream. Yeah. And oh, I don't know where that pint of ice cream went. It must have ran away. Like, oops, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so tempting. Gosh. It's so tempting to snack on it. Between that and the chocolate milk, forget it. That's pretty much what Dan and I live on. I'm like, oh, I didn't have time to make dinner today. Well, we'll just get some ice cream. No big deal.
Ice cream and chocolate milk. All right, let's go. I'm on board for that. Like whenever you need to have someone over for chocolate milk and ice cream, just let me know. I'll be there. So let's get back to the farm side of things a little bit. How many are you guys currently milking?
We milk 50 cows in a tie stall barn. We're about 80% Jerseys and 20% Holsteins, which Dan will gladly tell people is my influence. I'm a Holstein girl. He's a Jersey guy. So that's our compromise, 80-20.
Well, and I mean, he's there 80%, 80% more time than you. So, I mean, that's why he gets a higher percentage, right?
Of course. And it's only fair. I'm not unreasonable, but it does make me smile to look out in the pasture and see a sea of brown cows and then my, little white and black speckled Holsteins mixed in there.
Hey, you got to have balance, right?
Right.
And plus the Jerseys probably with the butter fat makes the milk extra good that you're bottling. So
yes, but it is
that
good.
Probably helps.
It is good to have the Holstein mixed in too, I think, because I sometimes worry if it was just straight Jersey, if maybe it would be too much for people. I don't know. It'd be an interesting experiment to try, but I don't know. Maybe we'll try that one day, like an exclusive Jersey line, and see if people can
bottled
taste the difference.
Jersey milk. There you go. See? So I want to switch gears to you and how you grew up. If you had things to do with farms as a kid, or if this is something you've married into. So if you want to bring us back to the beginning, to young Sarah, and tell us kind of your story and how you got to where you are now.
Sure. I'll do the short version. So my parents, I did not grow up on a farm. I don't have like farming in my family. So my parents both grew up in northern New Jersey, which is like more suburban. It's closer to New York City. And then once you get out to western New Jersey, like along the Delaware River, and then south, and then like the very, very north, it's very rural. So my parents grew up in the more like suburban, closer to New York City, New Jersey, and moved out to where we are because my mom's a teacher and she got a job out here. And where we are, it's very rural, lots of farms, like very different than what people picture when they think about New Jersey. And it just so happened they moved across the street from a dairy farm. So growing up, we played with the kids, right? That family had kids similar in age to me and my siblings. So we would play over there and I was obsessed. Like I thought it was the best thing ever. And I begged my parents, I was like, please, like they're in the dairy 4-H club, put me in that. And my parents were like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you asking us to do here? And I mean, to their credit, they were so supportive and they signed me up for the dairy 4-H club and I loved it. I was hooked. I was obsessed. All I wanted to do was like dairy stuff. I didn't even know what I didn't know, right? Like I had no idea what was out there. I just loved it and ended up sticking with it. I became involved in dairy promotion through the, Dairy Princess program. And then in college, I really struggled to like figure out my place in the dairy industry because, I didn't have a farm and I didn't really know like what else was out there. And I felt this like very odd pressure between like conflicting personalities almost, which I'm sure other people in the industry probably can relate to, right? Like I played basketball in college. So I had this like athlete life thing going on, but I like loved like dairy. And then I also was a business major. So it was just like hard. I felt like this pressure to pick. If I could like go back to younger me and just say like, relax, like it'll all come together. That would be so great.
Don't we all just wish that we could go back to like young, confused us and be like, you're fine. You're going to end up just where you're supposed to be. Because
right.
I had the same like, oh my gosh, this is never going to work out. Like, oh my gosh. And it does.
Yeah.
Everything has a way of going where it's supposed to.
Yeah. And I'm so glad it did. So after college, I worked at a marketing agency for a while and I liked it, but just decided that was not my long-term plan. And I actually met Dan around the same time. And now, then
how did you meet Dan?
So I chair our county's dairy promotion committee. And our county pre-COVID used to do this event called the Farmers Businessman Picnic, where they would invite all our county farmers and then county businesses to like join together for a picnic. And different farms would take turns hosting. And our dairy princess always attends to serve milk punch. And I usually go with them. And Dan's family farm was hosting and I took them and we met there at the farm, how appropriate. And yeah, and that was that. And then he didn't get rid of me. And then I brought my Holsteins over and he was stuck for life. So
I moved my Holsteins in. You're stuck with me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure after like a couple of months of dating, he was like, you could bring your cows here if you want. And I said, okay, well, are you sure? Because if they come here, yeah, I was like, you can't get rid of me.
You're out, Dan. If you take the cows, you're stuck with me, okay?
Yeah, and on top of that, it was literally the first Holstein to set foot on that farm. So I was like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you 100% positive? I said, we're a package deal, me and the cow, right? Like where I go, she goes, where she goes, I go. So anyway, he took her and now
you're stuck.
Yeah, I think he likes them, but
he won't admit it.
Yeah.
He'll take that to the grave with him.
Probably. And so we met and then I went to law school because I decided that was my path. And then Dan and I got married. So now I'm like living this attorney dairy farmer life, which when I didn't even grow up on a farm and, but my parents and family, they love it now. Like they come over and help with chores and they're always doing stuff. So
now are they team Holstein or team Jersey?
That's a good question. I don't know. I probably team Holstein because that's what I have, but
they're stuck with them.
They might say team Jersey just to like push my buttons, honestly. Who knows?
Yes, that works. So you talk about being in New Jersey and how, when you do think of New Jersey, or at least, even myself, you think of city and like suburbs of New York City. Do you want to share a little bit about New Jersey dairy?
Yeah, I would love to. It's always good to spread some New Jersey farm facts, just so people get the full picture. We have 35 dairy farms in New Jersey, and they're pretty much exclusively, there's like 3 pockets. They're all on the western side of the state, pretty much on the Delaware River side. And there's like a big pocket up north. There's a pocket in central Jersey, which is where we are. And then there's a pocket in South Jersey. And our typical herd size, I think I saw, was like 114 cows. So generally pretty small. I would say in South Jersey, there's a couple bigger dairy farms. So like a couple hundred, but like most of the dairy farms in central New Jersey range in that like 50 to 60 range because most of us are milking in tie stall barns. So you don't see some of the like bigger facility type setups in our state that you might see somewhere else. And I think, unfortunately, most of that is just like spacing concerns. Like, truthfully, if we ever like decided to expand to like 400 cows, like we just couldn't do that. There's just like too much buildup around the state. So smaller size is definitely the way to go. And you'll mostly see Holsteins around here. Not many people have color breeds. It's primarily Holsteins. There are a few Jersey farms and then a couple other like breeds mixed in here or there, but not a ton of diversity either on cow breed.
See, now I would think being in a state called New Jersey that everyone should technically have jerseys. I mean, that does just kind of, it flows, you know?
You would think, but yeah, I actually, that's a really wonder. Yeah, no, there's like, I can think of only a handful of like exclusively Jersey dairy farms. Most people have Holsteins.
I'll see. Yeah. I could be onto something. It's Jersey milk from Jersey. All right.
Yeah. That could be our next marketing campaign.
Yes. Your next marketing ploy. So you've recently also started sharing about your farm on social media. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into that? You know, plug your page, some of the different things that you get to experience while promoting dairy online?
Yeah. So I primarily share on Instagram under Spring Run Dairy and Facebook under Spring Run Dairy. And the progression of the two pages has been pretty interesting because I use them very differently now. I started sharing maybe back in like 2016 or 17. I had a gap year between when I left my marketing job and before I started law school, and I was working at the local high school, and I had a little more free time. And I told Dan, I said, I think I want to start this, you know, and I've always been more of a like advocator than maybe Dan is, just because of my background in like dairy promotion. So it seemed like something I would enjoy. And when I started in 2017, I didn't have like a specific vision, right? I just had all these like fun pictures on my phone that I wanted to post on Instagram. And it went well, right? It was fun. I enjoyed it. But I'd say I really took like a more directed and serious approach with it when we started the creamery, because now, right, we had like a bigger stake in the game, and I had like a direct vision and mission with what I was doing. And I now treat our Facebook page as more of like a creamery business page, right? I find that a lot of our like local customers interact with us on Facebook. So I'll do a lot of like farm store updates or event updates or product updates on Facebook. And Instagram, I find, does better with more of the like day-to-day stuff, or like an inside look on what we're doing, or just, you know, like my personal platform to share my thoughts and feelings about dairy. Yeah, and that's primarily where I share. And again, it's been really fun to like have a community. I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good community, but it's been fun to like grow a local community of people that come to the farm and buy our milk, because I don't know, it makes me feel like what I'm doing is like worthwhile, to have like local families and local people like get to see what we're doing. And I mean, I think that's only fair if we're asking them to put their trust in us to produce milk for them that they're going to feed their families. We should be being as transparent as possible. So that's been fun.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think definitely as a consumer, being able to see the inside scoop, it makes you feel more connected to where your food is coming from, which is something that a lot of people don't get to experience nowadays. So definitely getting to see how their specific milk going to the farm, like, oh, I saw that they do this, or I saw that they do this. You know, just seeing that connection, I'm sure resonates with the customers, and definitely probably helps loyalty and those customers coming back time after time again.
Yeah, I think so. We had an open house. We don't do a ton of like ag tourism events, but we try to do some, you know, at least a couple times a year, just to like let people get like an inside look at the farm. And we did an open house in June, and Dan did a milking demonstration, which I was like very on top of him about. I was like, you better plan out what you're going to say, like think this through. And he was like, I don't know, like I think just milking and like talking about what I'm doing like as I go will be good, because he was like, no one ever sees this, right? And I was like, I don't know, I think you need to really think about this. And again, I was wrong. He was totally right. People loved it. And I think sometimes you just forget, right, that like, okay, we see it every day, but they don't see it every day. So even just like the simple facts of milking, right, this very simple process was like,
yes,
mind-blowing to them, which is awesome. I'm so glad we were able to do that. But yeah, it's a good reminder that people just like want to see, they just want to know what's going on.
Yes, I completely agree that, and we do sometimes as people that are in it every day, we overlook the little things that, the average person does not get to see and is fascinated by. Whereas we're like, yeah, that happens every day. Like that, there's nothing exciting about that. And, sometimes being able to step away and looking at it from an outside perspective is really cool because, it really is fascinating, like the things that we do on a day-to-day basis that we just do and don't even think about it. So it's a cool way. And sometimes us ladies overthink things, right? Sometimes our husbands are right. Every
Yeah.
once in a while they could be right, but not very often. I just
Yeah.
want to throw that out
Yeah.
there. My husband listens to this, so don't let it get to your head.
Oh, yeah.
We
I'll tell Dan not to listen to this. I don't want to hear him I don't want him to hear me saying too many times that I was wrong and he was right.
99% of the time us ladies are right. That's how this works, okay? Just
Yeah.
so that any men listening to this just know, right? Happy wife, happy life. That's my motto, right?
There you go.
Sarah's like, yes, we do. So when do you have like a defining moment? Like, you say you grew up on the farm or across from the farm, sorry, and you spent all of the time that you could there. Do you have like a defining moment or just a fun memory that you remember as a kid and you're like, this is awesome?
I don't know about a defining moment, but I do have this very specific memory in my mind. So, and I, when I think about it, it makes me smile. So the dairy farm across the street from us was, it's a very long piece of property. So directly across from us was where they raised their heifers, but like maybe half a mile down the road was the actual like milking herd, barn, parlor, all of that. And in the summertime, when you're working with your like 4-H project animal, I would go to like work with my calf, which was they raised like calves and then transition heifers at the, farm, like half mile down the road. So I would there was another girl in the club that lived like a half a mile in the other direction. So she would ride her bike to me and then we would ride our bikes together to the farm and we'd like wash our calves and walk them. And then we'd ride our bikes home. And I was probably like in middle school, but I felt like I was like king of the world. I was like, it does not get any better than this. Like, I just felt so mature, like, bye mom, I'm riding my bike to the farm. I got to go work with my cow. And, that was just like peak summer memory for me. And, it just makes me smile. And I like to like think about like what a simple memory, but I'm so glad I have it. And it's just nice to think about those fun times.
It's like when you're a kid and you're like, I'm like an adult doing this. Like, look at me. I'm like off on my own. I'm doing my thing, taking care of my cow. Like, how many other people can say that?
Yeah.
Good. That's awesome. I love little memories like that are always so neat to hear what what sticks in people's minds is always fascinating to me. So I guess at this point, I like to jump into some random fun questions. So obviously we're going to start your favorite dairy product.
Chocolate milk. Easy.
Surprise, right?
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh, I was not prepared for this. Well,
they're random questions. You're not supposed to be prepared for them.
You know what movie I would never say no to? Sweet Home Alabama. I know it's such like a rom-com, but I will never ever say no to Sweet Home Alabama.
Classic, right? So next question. If you won the lottery without like saying I won the lottery, how would we know that Sarah won the lottery?
Oh, easy. You would see me at every cow sale ever. And I would be like acquiring cows like, oh, and it wouldn't even be like, I would buy some very nice show cows for sure. But I'd be like, oh, this one's cute. You're coming home with me. Like, I'll take 2 of those, please. Like, I would just amass a massive amount of cows. And I don't know where we put them all, but that would be a for sure sign if you saw me at a sale, just like buying everything that walked through the barn. That would be a good hint. You would know something's up.
You could just start adding shipping containers onto the barn to keep all your cows on, right? You'd go to Sarah's farm. There'd be 7 shipping containers stacked over here for the creamery, a couple more shipping containers over there, right?
I'll build my own little shipping container dairy farm compound with
there you go.
Just an eclectic group of cows, and that's how you'll know. If you ever see that pop up on Instagram, we've hit it big on the lottery.
I love it. Favorite pizza topping besides cheese, because cheese is obviously cheese obviously wins.
This is a little bizarre, but Dan and I have been eating a lot of barbecue chicken pizza lately, which I don't know if I ever would have picked, but it's really good. So that is currently my favorite.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
I can definitely get on board with that. How about dream vacation?
Italy. That's like my next like bucket list trip. I don't have like a super long list of places I'd want to go, but definitely Italy. That would be like my dream.
Would Dan go with you, or would you go with somebody else? Or
well, if he could get away from the farm, I'm sure he would go.
I always have to have someone else because Greg, my husband, is always like, I'm not going to Europe. Like, you can find someone else to go with. Go with whoever you want, but I'm not going. It's like, there's too much to see in the United States. I don't need to go to Europe.
That's true. I did somehow magically convince him to go to the Bahamas for our honeymoon.
Ooh.
And we didn't even go for a full week. And I kind of felt bad because I think like I was very relaxed, but I think he was like stressed. Like, I'm not sure if he had like the relaxing experience. Like, I think he was just very anxious about being that far away from the farm. So maybe he wouldn't go actually.
I'll go. Me and you can go. That's fine. Let's go.
Perfect. 2024. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I could schedule you in.
Oh, perfect.
Oh gosh, I love it. Beach or mountains?
Oh, come on. I'm a Jersey Shore girl through and through.
Well, I didn't know if you'd be like, oh no, I like to go the other way.
Oh no, I love the Jersey Shore. I mean, okay, there are some nice parts. There are some not nice parts, but the Jersey Shore all the way. I love it. I will never say no to a trip down the Jersey Shore.
There you go. I have yet to go to the Jersey Shore, so I'm gonna have to go check that out. I guess last question. What is your go-to ice cream flavor? Finishing up National Ice Cream Month, so
mint chocolate chip.
Lots of mint chocolate chip people when I ask this question.
Really?
I am not team mint chocolate chip, and everyone, I'm like an anti. Yeah, I don't know.
What's your choice?
Oh, I'm a cookie. Well, so Stewart's, we're in New York, so we have the Stewart's ice cream. It's brownie cookie sundae, so it's a vanilla ice cream with a chocolate swirl, and it has cookie dough chunks, but it also has brownie chunks.
Okay, to be fair, that does sound really good.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But the problem is you can't ever get it at the scoop counter because it's next to the mint chocolate chip, and it always tastes like mint chocolate chip if you get it at the scoop counter.
Oh. See, I think it
drives me nuts. No, it drives me crazy. So, and then there's a local dairy around us that makes ice cream, and they make a lemon dream ice cream. It's like a creamy lemon. Oh yeah.
That sounds good. I don't think I've ever had a lemon flavored ice cream before.
Oh my gosh. It's mind-blowingly good.
Okay. But if I'm in a fruity, of that for our plane ride to Italy.
Or you could just come visit me and we'll fly out of here. Yeah, that works. So perfect. Awesome. Any last parting tidbits of advice, Sarah?
Oh gosh. I don't know. My advice to, New Jersey, it's very interesting because there's a lot of youth that get involved, but obviously don't necessarily have the farm connection. So I always try to just share with them, like, don't give up. There are ways to be involved in agriculture, even if it's not like traditional, like what you think of traditionally on the farm. So there's just, so many opportunities out there. So if you really want to be involved, I feel confident that, people can find a path that fits and works for them.
100% agree. Do you want to plug one last time your social media handles?
Yeah. So you can find us on Instagram at springrun.dairy and then on Facebook at springrundairy.
Awesome. Sarah, thank you so very, very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It was such a fun conversation. And this is your reminder. Please follow me, Dairy Gal Val, on social media. Leave a review, share the podcast with a friend, tag me in it. If you share it, please let me know what you think. We really want to hear your opinions and feedback, especially with season 1 coming to an end and season 2 in the making. So please, any feedback would be super. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining the Dairy Hour.
Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to be notified of future episodes and leave a review. You can find me on most social media platforms at Dairy Gal Val or online at dairygalval.com. Thank you so much for coming to the Dairy Hour.